Jason Mishke, Findango on YouTube. Over the Top had a huge effect on the promotion of arm wrestling in the 80s and continued on for better or for worse into today. Chris, I know you're a huge movie buff. I'd like to throw this at you. If you were to have a movie designed to highlight arm wrestling today, what sort of plot would you use and which stars would you have in the film? I'm including both celebrity and actual arm wrestlers to fully highlight the sport properly.
Wow.
No pressure.
That's a wicked question. That's a good question. The plot I would use is not like the original Over the Top. The plot, well, yes and no. The plot I would use would be a plot from a movie in the late 80s called Color of Money with Paul Newman and Tom Cruise, which was a remake. So basically you have Mentor and you have Prodigy. In this scenario, you would have this Studley young prodigy being mentored, and they're going and they're making money. And of course, the end game is this huge, massive tournament in Vegas. But in the process, he takes them along, and they hustle in bars and little tournaments. And the mentor shows them all the rules and all the tricks of the trade, so to speak. And the prodigy rakes up cash. Much like the Color of Money movie, at one point, the mentor, with just older and broken down, is no longer competitive. Yet he knows everything there is to know about the sport. They get into a little bit of an argument, and the prodigy decides he can go out and do it without giving the mentor 20% of the cuts. So he does so. And he's going to make his way to Vegas to this big, huge, over-the-top type tournament. The mentor decides to go get his elbow looked at or something like that. And all of a sudden, it's repaired, and all of a sudden, his body is responding the way his mind wants it to, and he becomes... Anyway, so their trajectories meet at this tournament. Jason Momoa would be the antagonist, so like the Bull Hurley. He's about 6'8". Everyone knows Jason Momoa, and he can act, so he'd be a great antagonist if the movie budget can hold it. The prodigy would probably be played by Tom Hardy from the movie Warrior. The mentor would have to be at least 10 years older, probably in his mid to late 40s. That would be from Tarzan, Alexander Skarsgård. 6'5", athletically built, great actor from Sweden. So that would meet at the finals, and of course, it would be an emotional, dramatic ending with and the ending would be ambiguous and up to what's the word? It would be up to interpretation. There would be no clear-cut winner. It would end at a certain, much like Color of Money, which makes the movie that much more powerful and provocative rather. In terms of pullers being in the movie, Travis would be in the movie as one of the top pullers only because he's a natural actor, super charismatic, running his mouth. I would have RVJ in the movie at some playing a character for his physical traits and his training. I'd have like cuts of him training, bicep stuff, whatever. And if John Brzenk decided to go into a different sport or never go into arm wrestling, the greatest arm wrestler of all time is Ron Bath, and I'd have him, to pay homage to him, I'd have him in this movie, either as a coach or an arm wrestler or both, kicking ass. The director I would use would be Gavin O'Connor, who directed the movie Miracle, and in my opinion, the best sports movie ever made, which is Warrior. And I hope that answers your question. There you have it.
Oh, I don't know, Gaby. If you had creative license to do all of that stuff, I don't know. It's a tough one.
I just do porn, right? Just fucking make porn movies. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
I mean, produce them, not.
Janine Penner, hi. She asked me to wave. That's why I waved. All right. Scott McGinnis. Hey guys, enjoy watching the show. What keeps you motivated to keep training and pursuing excellence in arm wrestling? No, you don't want to talk about that?
Two words come to mind: passion and pride. The passion for arm wrestling still is strong. Love being around arm wrestlers. Love arm wrestling. Love training. Love all the shit that's involved in arm wrestling. However, you see a lot of guys as they get 15, 20 years in, they start fading only because they struggle to be competitive, and their pride won't allow them to go 2-0, 3-2, or win one match or finish fifth at a tournament when 5-6 years later they would have cleaned up. So my pride almost does never. I don't mind going into the tournament not winning or finishing second or third. I don't ever want to be the guy who's finishing fifth, sixth, seventh, or going 2-0 ever. So I'm motivated to still become competitive, even as I drop in a tier or two over the course of the next whatever 5-10 years, doesn't matter. So the answer to this question, it would be passion and pride. The two go hand in hand somewhat.
Well, it's not something that I've actively thought about ever, because it's to me it was never a consideration to stop arm wrestling or stop being better than I am right now. Now that's come in different forms over my career, but absolutely the ability to be the best, to call yourself the best at something, to strive to get to the top of the mountain and stay there, and the motivation that comes with actually getting knocked off the top and trying to claw your way back up there. I would think that most arm wrestlers that stay competitive at a certain level for a certain amount of years are the outliers amongst us that just could not exist as an average person for the rest of their life. And whether it's arm wrestling or something else, I think that if it ever came a day when I had to stop arm wrestling, if it was for a medical reason perhaps, I would find something else that I would strive to be the best at. Whether it's being the world's greatest arm wrestling referee or having the absolute best arm wrestling podcast in all of existence. But it would be something physical. And I even find myself when I watch stuff on Strongman, like you kind of get that itch, like you want to get back in there and do it. But, arm wrestling is just the thing that all of us fell in love with. And it'll be a part of my life until somebody throws dirt on top of me.
Yeah. I also think that those that, and like everything else, I've talked about this on Facebook, but those that seek out or try to find or motivate themselves usually end up fading or falling out of whatever they're trying to motivate themselves to do. Generally, those that have been in the sport for a while, I don't know, sometimes you're tired and you don't want to train, so you have to motivate yourself to train. But in terms of being in the sport, competing, being an active participant within the sport's walls, I don't know, I think you either get bitten and it just consumes you, or you fade in and out. But I think for you and I, it's both a question of, we jumped in the sport a long time ago, and I've never even come close to considering leaving or, I think I've hit at least 8 tournaments per year since 2004, pretty consistent. Even on off years, I hit 8 tournaments. On big years, I hit 14, 15. Always trained for it. So I don't think at a certain point, it's not even a question about motivation. It's just who you are, what you do, what you love doing.
I got Boschman back in the comments saying, "Hey, Mastiff, are you going to put that plaque from Mayhem up again on the line against me? If not, can I at least see it?" No, you can't see it. I'm not going to show it to you. It's not in this room. And you saw it once, Boschman. You saw it after they announced me the winner and handed it to me. And I'm sure you got a photo of that somewhere. But we'll see. Janine Penner says, "I love everything about arm wrestling." It's a great comment.
So complex, yet so simple.
Yeah. I love it. Now, those are all the questions we had come in to CanadianGangsters@gmail.com. So amongst those and the questions we receive until September 30th, Ready Go Garb, readygo.ca if you're interested in checking out their stuff. That contest is happening monthly. So between today's questions and the questions we will receive up until the 30th, on the show that airs on the 30th, we will have an answer for you on who gets the $40 coupon code for that website. And what else do you want to talk about? What did we say we were going to revisit at the end of the show? We're going to talk about Devon versus Wagner because we're less than 2 weeks away. Have you seen all of the training footage that has come out? Well, actually, I want to talk about 2 matches. We got the Wagner match. So Wagner's putting out a ton of training footage, and it looks like insane. Like, I love what the guy's doing. I can't understand a word he says, but I love watching his stuff. And he's got some weird sheep sitting on his shoulder when he's talking to Devon in his videos, like a goddamn lunatic, but I love it. What do you think of the stuff you've seen coming out from him?
Staging, acting, selling his personality. Don't start shaking and moving tables, because you're never going to do that in a tournament. If you do, you get fucking.
He will do that in a tournament, though.
I mean,
I've seen it happen.
I mean, the toughest and strongest men are usually the ones that are calm and docile. His game will be great for fans and fucking fanboys and all that shit. I don't buy it. I think he's an exceptional arm wrestler. I think he's you can argue he's a favorite in this match, but all the other bullshit and the colorful acting and all that shit. In fact, even talking about it is a little bit of a waste of time. You could talk about it, but I think it's a joke. What I'm going to talk about when we're talking about training and wall, there's something that needs to be addressed. I saw a couple. You want to talk about training videos that are genuine and not staged and full of bullshit. Sarah Backman reverse rope climbs. Are you fucking kidding me? Like,
yeah, that's the other match I wanted to talk about.
Fuck, man! Like the whole world. I was telling guys at work about that. Like, they're like, "Can you do that?" I'm like, "Fuck no, fuck no." And she's not only a woman; she's not slender. It's not like she's a 112-pound woman. That is insane, man. That was so. I even saved that video to show myself in later years when I believe I can no longer do something, because that is impressive stuff. And I don't care if she's on stuff. I don't give a shit. That is more impressive than throwing tables and shuffling tables around and yelling curse words in Italian and Portuguese.
I believe Wagner is authentic, man. I've watched him for years and years and years. He gets that excited. So his reckless abandonment of form in training, I think, is just who he is. I don't believe that's an act. The guy is a little bit crazy, and I love it.
He is. I agree. There's a little bit of a hostility and aggression in how he responds to a win. But now that he's got Wall backing him, it's like it's an injection of drama steroids. Like, they're almost like, yeah, whatever you are, make it 5 times more exuberant and make a bigger show and more drama. It's like, fuck off.
That's the exact speech that Kaplan gives at the start of the match. They said, "Don't be anyone you're not. But be the biggest you that you can be."
Yeah. The problem is not everyone knows how to be the biggest form of themselves, so they just try to do what they normally do, and they try to add a little bit of acting flair, except they're not Robert De Niro or Meryl Streep, so it comes off as fucking acting. Whatever. Hey, man, Wall's doing good things. I'm not going to bash Wall too much. They're doing good things. You know.
So you don't like what Wagner's doing, and you do. What do you think of Devon's responses?
Again, when Devon speaks, Devon prior to a couple of years ago wasn't a trash talker. Now he's trash talking because he's no longer the puller, and he tries to increase his marketability verbally. Except he's not great at it. It comes off as it's forced. The only one that does it that I find that isn't really forced is Travis. Travis is, if he wasn't an arm wrestler, he could be an actor. He can be a lot of things. He's a natural, genuine conveyor of thoughts, or whatever he wants you to think, or however he wants to convey it, you can believe it. He's super genuine. Devon, not so much, although he seems to be getting better. I'll give him a little bit of credit. But the moving of tables and the smashing of tables, just like Alan Fisher for 25 years before he gets to the table, before he shakes your hand, will go ballistic and start shaking a table. I'd laugh at him. I'd laugh at Wagner. You done shaking the table? Can we arm wrestle now? Like, what are you going to do? When we're done, you're going to throw the table into the audience, and what are you going to do? Like, either you win or you lose. It's a little bit, I don't know, I think it's a little bit ludicrous. I like the more genuine, stoic type. I'd rather watch Herman Stevens come down the fucking stairs to a stage, looking super confident, not flexing his biceps, and kick the shit out of a guy on the table, wink at him and walk away, and have all this nonsense. But that's just me. Not too many guys can come away with pulling that shit off and looking genuine. Travis is one. Even Mask. I mean, I find Mask, it just looks like they're putting on a show. They're trying to do something that they're not naturally gifted at or have yet the practice to do so.
Well, you talked about Sarah, and I wanted to talk more about that match because I watch what Sarah does, and I think, holy crap! Like that's insane. Like the reverse rope climb, awesome. It's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. But then I look and I go and it makes me curious. So I go over to Gaby's Instagram and I start looking at her training videos and some of the weights she's throwing around. And I think I still pick Gaby to win.
Yeah, I think it's fucking the whole sport's winning in a way, and female arm wrestling, absolutely, because we're 2 weeks away, and I can honestly tell you for the first time in my arm wrestling life that on a card or at a tournament or a super match where there's multiple super matches, I'm mostly looking forward to seeing the woman. This to me is the premium match. These are the more, because in my mind it can go both ways. They are both incredible arm wrestlers. Their training is amazing. Their strength levels are amazing. They don't really have glaring weaknesses that one can capitalize over the other. I don't think any prognosticator out there has a clear-cut idea who's going to win this. This is an awesome matchup between two elite Tier 5 arm wrestlers in the world. And we can't say that on any other card in 2 weeks. On any other match on that card in 2 weeks. They're more or less lopsided. Although Wagner and Devon is very ambiguous as well. There's a lot of people that although have favorites, if I ask anyone who they think who they're going to win and how is that person going to win, they're not completely confident. There's a lot of variables, but the female matchup is going to be. If I could only watch one match that night, if I only had the choice of watching one match, it would absolutely be that match.
You know what? I agree. Like, I don't think people realize how elite these two women are. Like, if you're counting WAF titles, which WAF titles are a big deal, it's still the toughest tournament in the world to win. And you add up their WAF titles, what is it, 40 something? It's got to be in the 40s, if not higher.
I don't know. It's a shitload, for sure.
Like it's, I think Gaby has got like 26 or something like that. It says on her Instagram, but it's incredible.
This is a Tier 5 versus a Tier 5, which is.
And when was the last time we saw a Tier 5 versus a Tier 5?
Fuck. Jesus. I would say Dennis and Devon, but Devon's left probably wasn't a 5. Devon and Andre. I don't know. We don't see it very often. Igor has been able to put on some big time top guys versus top guys, but we definitely don't see it that often. Devon and John back in 2015 at Wall Finals for the Hammer.
Yep.
That was one. That's compelling stuff. Yeah.
Boschman says, I think Devon will crank Wagner up like a 46 Chevy in the cold. Devon will dominate Wagner's hand. I respectfully disagree with that statement.
Yeah. When you're talking to that guy, you don't have to say I respectfully, because that guy's a Tier 1 troll Canadian bum. Like that guy.
Oh, you're gonna get it now.
Tell him to bring it. I mean,
but he also says we love the nonsense, so yeah, it's great.